All right, guys, so now that we talked about the importance or the functionality of email, what I want to do is talk to you guys about some terms that you're going to hear moving forward in this course, or just some terms that you need to know about. So let's, for example, say that you have 100 people on your email list, okay? Now, I'm just going to use 100 to make things easy, but it could be 200, could be 500, could be 1,000, whatever it is. Whenever you send an email to these people, okay, there is something called an open rate, okay? Open rate. So that means, now there's a couple of different ways that you can calculate this. I'll show you, I'm going to explain the way I like to calculate it. Some of the tools calculate it differently. But the open rate is basically the percentage of people who open up your email. So if you send an email to 100 people, and let's say 20 people open it, right? That's a 20% open rate, right? So the idea here is that we talked about how important email is. Now, it doesn't mean that when you send out an email, all the people on your list are going to get it, right? Some people will just ignore it and delete it. Some people won't get it for whatever reason. Maybe it goes into their spam. Maybe something that you said in the email caused it to go into the spam folder. There's a number of reasons why everybody won't get this. But your job as a food blogger is to get this rate as high as possible. Because the higher that you can get this, the more people that see your emails, right? So the more people that see your emails, the more chance you have of sending them to your blog. Now, my blog, when I had it, had 40,000 people on the list. So there were 40,000 people on my email list. Why that's important is because the 20% open rate is a much higher number than obviously the 100. So when you're talking about 20% of people opening this, I'm literally driving thousands of people to my blog with one email. Now, what determines the percentage of open, right? That's important, okay? And I want to get into that here because this is something that you're going to need to understand because not all emails are created equally. Open rates are going to be 90 to 100% is going to be on your subject line. So you create an email and you're going to learn more about this in the coming videos. I'm going to talk about the email platforms and, subject lines and what to write in the email and so on and so forth. But for the purposes of this explanation, just know that your email subject line is what's going to predicate or get people to open up the email. So the subject lines, right? So when you get an email from, like, say, Jason Caruso, right? So the name comes into your email and then it shows you the subject line, right? So first thing you're going to do is check the subject line to see if it interests you. And then you're going to see if it's important enough. You'll check my name and decide whether or not you want to open it. So your subject line is what's going to entice people to open the email. In the next video, what I'm going to do is talk about the different subject lines and how you can increase this 20% or whatever you're getting, maybe 10%, 15%, whatever your open rate is. I'm going to talk about how you can increase that number by your subject line. Now, before we go, I just want you guys to know that 20% is actually a really high open rate. You know, sometimes 10% is good or 15%. 20% is a little high. We were actually getting more like 60%, but that is because our lead magnet was very relevant to the people on the list. The more relevant your lead magnet is, the higher the open rates will be as well, because the people are more engaged. All right, guys, so I hope this makes sense. Open rates are going to be the rate in which people open your email, and it's going to usually be the subject line that engages them or sparks their interest, or whatever. As I said, the next video, we're going to talk more about subject lines.